Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you all. Welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. I'm your host, Nasira Jamal, and I'm so happy to be here on this wonderful fall morning. I wanted to talk about something that, we have touched on this many a times over the different speakers that have come into Thrive, Not Just Survive. But we want to highlight something today in terms of the test or the struggle that we go through. For a lot of us, we take that and we come out of it and it becomes a testimony in a way that it becomes a message, right? Where we feel like because we've gone through it, we feel the need and the calling actually to help others with it. And today, my guest, Kelly DeBlois, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm going to bring her on, but what I want to really highlight is how she took her test and made it her testimony by the message that she is now giving out to the world. So let me bring her on so we can share with you her message and her inspiration. So let's bring her on and get this conversation started. Hey, Kelly, I think I butchered your last name, so my apologies for that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you. So we have lots to talk about, and I can't wait to really just dive right in. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of give our audience a framework. If you can share a bit of your story of how you kind of landed doing what you're doing now, but what was it that really happened and what triggered it all? So if you can kind of give us a framework, that would be great.
Sure. When I was younger, I was extremely athletic and outgoing, and I think I was about 24, and I had a car accident that changed my whole life. So basically, I ended up being paralyzed from my waist down on the left side. They had to do emergency surgery to restore my walking and everything else. So basically, I went through years of severe pain and immobility and challenges with that. And because of all the trauma from my body, and I ended up developing systemic lupus. So so it was a whole nother journey there.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically what happened, I went through physio and all the, the channels of recovery continuously. It wasn't a quick process. So I got to the point with my lupus. I was so ill at the time that I was using a walker, wheelchair, to anytime going out of the house to get around. So basically, I had hit my rock bottom and was to a point that I'd just given up hope completely. Went through some really bad depression and anxiety through those years, because that was probably over about 6 years that this was going on. It wasn't a short stint. And I kept rallying up and, finding that inner strength and everything. And then I just got to a point that it was like I'd lost myself. And my sister even said to me at one point, "I don't even recognize you anymore." And that was a real eye opener for me. So what I had tried many, many different things, and some things helped a little bit. And then one day I decided to try chair yoga. So basically I literally wheeled in with my walker, couldn't even get on the floor. So somebody had suggested this chair yoga thing. And that was the first time in 6 years that I felt physically present in my body. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It was the first little crack of light that I had seen in that 6 years. And it was a long journey from then, but I knew in that during that class is when I realized that there's hope, and that I connected with my breath, which connected me to my spirit. And I felt that little bit of hope again. So.
And isn't it interesting, right, that there's just that little bit of hope that comes through where we can kind of almost feel like we're guided to that light, that there is that crack, and then we find that journey to begin. right? And I love the fact that, you say it wasn't easy, because that's the truth, right? It's being vulnerable, and it's kind of coming to that point of rock bottom to say, well, what is it then, right? Like, where do you go from there when you feel that hopeless, right? And I love your message. And I know we'll talk about more about the hope part of it as we go through this interview. So tell me what happened next.
It was probably about a year that I was taking the chair yoga classes, and basically slowly started to progress to be able to do mat yoga and different movement and stuff like that. So it was just a slow, gradual journey of rediscovering my body. I'm still, to this day, I'm not able to do lots of things that I used to do. Like, I have permanent damage. So it was just about reconnecting and getting to know my body in this new environment that I was living in. So basically, I started healing some of just the pain and the trauma from the experience that I went through, reconnecting to my emotional body, because I was so shut down, completely blocked off emotionally, spiritually. So started to slowly trust and have faith again. And yeah, just integrated different modalities to osteopathy and different things that would always bring me sort of to a different level, because I would plateau. But to me, yes, it helped my body. It's an ongoing process. But the most important thing that I found that yoga helped me to reconnect to my spiritually,
Right.
to my inner spirit and my higher power. It was because what I've learned over the years is whatever things are going to happen throughout my life and in life, to my physical body, to my circumstances. But as long as I have that connection spiritually, I know I'm going to get through anything. When that connection, exactly, when that connection is broken, or I don't feel that presence in my life, that's when depression can come in and pull you down very, very quickly. So to me, that's always been my lifeline.
And how have you taken that learning, sorry, to the next sort of phase of life where, you are really purpose driven in helping others? Like, where's it going now, kind of thing?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So basically what happened is that to me was a big shift in my life, because it had given me so much hope. And I literally say that yoga gave me my life back. It's not an exaggeration in any means. It really was that dramatic of a difference from where I was to where I got to. And it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I've arrived and that's it. There's been a lot of ups and downs over the years, obviously, because I have a chronic condition, right? So, but for me, what I just felt compelled to share this with other people. So I ended up taking my yoga teacher training, and I did it in sections, and then I did a chunk, and then I did, you know what I mean? I keep taking training. But for me, I just felt like this was such a significant difference for me that I wanted to share it with others. And I saw it as such um, a way that I could help people. And I talked to a lot of people, like I said, the emotional component of it is very dear to my heart, because I lost my sister due to mental illness. So for me, it integrated very beautifully in how it had helped me to be able to share that with other people that weren't just struggling physically, but were struggling with mental health challenges. So I became a teacher, and I started doing classes, and I have done anywhere from restorative yoga to chair yoga, doing different meditation and pranayama, because there's times still to this day that I go through periods that I physically can't do the asanas of yoga when I'm going through a significant flare, but I can still do 90% of yoga because the physical part of it is such a small part of yoga when you really get into it.
Right.
So
And that's where I think, like, from a lot of people that I've talked to that really have taken in yoga as a practice in their life, not necessarily for you, like you've taken it even further, which is like you got certified in it to teach it. But for those who really incorporate it, what I've heard from them is that that breath work, that the connection to that breath is so instrumental in the different transformations, like you talk about that emotional place or the spiritual connection. It's so great when it becomes a routine practice for you, right? So can you tell us what you do in terms of the different things? I know we talked about it off air, but like the sister circle and in the transformative kind of work that you do when you bring people together to do that work.
Mm-hmm. So after I'd been teaching for probably about 10 years, I felt a calling to do more. And then that's when I started my meditation retreat days, because I couldn't meditate to save my life. I'm very type A personality, very busy, kind of go, go, go kind of person. And for me to sit still, it would drive me crazy. So I learned through yoga to be able to learn to meditate. So I started these retreat days to be able to bring that to the general public. Of most people say, I can't meditate. And I'm like, I've been there, you know. So that's how the retreat days started. And it ended up evolving into one of what I feel is one of the greatest gifts that I've received, is being able to find my purpose. So the retreat day started out as basically teaching people how to meditate, and then has now evolved over the last 10 years into helping people discover who they are, what their gifts are, what they can contribute to the world, and how they can serve. So
Brilliant.
It's been so powerful. Like, people have from small, minuscule, very poignant shifts in their life to making career changes, because they've been working in a corporate job or whatever they've been doing that's been sucking the life out of them for 20 years, and then discovering their passion and having the courage to be able to follow their heart. So it's been so incredibly, I got goosebumps just talking about it, because this is so dear to my heart, because that was the shift for me. When I found my purpose, then it just ignited everything in my life. So, and then last year, a lot of people were saying in the retreats, because that's like every few months, I would do a retreat. It's a whole day. And people at the retreats were saying, it's too long in between retreats. We want something more regular. And that's when I created my Sisterhood circles that I do monthly. And that you were saying before about we rise by lifting others up. And that's why I knew that I connected with you right away when we met with Anna Marie's group, because we're so on the same page. And my Sisterhood circle is called Haseya, which means rise up. So it so perfectly leads into what you're doing. And it's all about women coming together and being able to help each other rise up through their life circumstances so that they can shine brighter in the world. And it's just been a beautiful unfolding, figure it out as we go. We work with the chakra system in some of our themes, and just weave that into, we do some yoga, some meditation, some sharing. And it's been a lot of fun.
So let me ask you how, obviously, when you were doing this before, in terms of your retreats, they were in person. How has COVID kind of had you change some of these things, right? You had to pivot.
100%. So we are now doing it virtually. The women's, the monthly circles are virtual. So the first, I think we started in October. So the first ones through the winter were in person. I have a home studio here in Wyville. And then March is when we shifted over to virtual. And it's really been a gift, because we have somebody that's coming regularly from the West Coast, and we have somebody from the East Coast. We've had somebody from the States that actually, she used to live here, moved for a few years to the States, and now she's back here. So So we've been able to expand our reach to, it's all word of mouth. So it's friends and relatives that um, don't live here. They've been able to join, and it's really connected some people that they have seen each other regularly through the Sisterhood Circle, and it's been beautiful. We have a guest speaker every month
Nice.
that shares on the topic, and then we all share.
And that's the thing I find with COVID, right? I always have felt that there's a silver lining to any of these struggles that come our way. And COVID has really taken the wind out of the whole globe, right? Everyone is like shocked. But I believe we have connected the entire world because everyone's online. And now you can go across the ocean and have somebody in your group that you would never have had the privilege to meet or connect with. And so for me, it's almost like it's bringing everyone closer together and connecting, having relationships being built. And distance is not a factor anymore. It's not just in our backyards, right? So I love that you were able to reach further and beyond, because you never know who's out there that's looking for exactly what you have that can connect the dots for them. So kudos to you for, taking on the lead and bringing it forward for others to be able to be a part of. I love what you're doing. So how can people get a hold of you? Is there Facebook? Like where are you at where we can kind of connect with you?
My favorite place to be is Facebook. So Inspirational Yoga is my Facebook page. I just find it's a little bit easier to connect. I'm also on Instagram at In Spirit Yoga, and people can reach out to me directly at my email if they want more information. I'm in the Barrie area. I live in Wyville, and I teach my regular classes in the Barrie area. And what I'm doing for the first time ever, I'm actually doing a live class on Thursdays. In physical, we were able to secure like an auditorium so that we can have tons of room. The class is only about 15 people in person, and then we're live streaming to people at home. So there's a lot, so there's a lot of people. I had some students that I've been volunteering at Geneva Park up in Aurelia for 18 years. And when they found out I was doing it virtually now, they live in Newmarket. So now they're going to take my classes on a regular weekly basis. So that was really exciting to be able to connect with them. So, and then I do a recording, and if you can't make that time, you can do the recording whenever you want.
That's brilliant, right? Because there are different schedules with kids in school and homeschooling, and people have to alter their routines with this new way of life that we're sort of in for probably for the next foreseeable future, right? Like we can't really say over the next year or two how things are going to evolve with all of these challenges with COVID. So it's great that you're able to have those in-person classes. Of course, you're doing social distancing and all of that, but yet you're recording, you're live streaming. I mean, you're trying to reach as many as you can. And I love the message that you have. So for those of you that are watching live or on replay, please share this video out. The information in here obviously is going to help others that are going through challenges. And I really want to talk about this next thing with you because it's about giving hope, right? Here we are in a place where we never thought, 6 months ago, a year ago, we never thought we'd be having this type of conversation where there are so many people struggling right now with different challenges, right? COVID has brought about, I think, a lot of people to that place of, well, who am I? What am I doing? Why is this happening, right? And so this is about giving hope. Let's talk about that piece of hope. What does it mean to you?
For me,
Like the message that you're sending out, how is it that's become such a powerful thing for you in terms of giving hope to others?
Yeah, I think it's everything, because we all go through times in our life that we feel that we've hit a rock bottom or the darkest place. Or I think everybody goes through it. I don't think I'm the only one that has gone through challenges and didn't know which way to turn. And for me, it's so incredibly powerful when we share honestly and authentically from our heart. it's scary. It really is scary to be vulnerable. And what I've found is that when I've taken that risk and I've opened myself up, it's made such a huge impact on other people. People saying to me that, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know anybody else felt that way." And then they would open up and pour out their heart to me. So, and just knowing that you're not alone, knowing like we all, I think, just kind of muscle through life, and society expects us to be a certain way and be strong and tough and just plow through everything. And I used to think that that made me strong to be able to do that. And I realize now that that's just a facade. I mean, that's not true strength. I think true strength is in authenticity and being able to be vulnerable. So um, it's really connected me on a much deeper level coming from that place, instead of, feeling that I have to have it all together all the time. Especially like I went through a period, especially being a yoga teacher, being in the holistic healing field. I felt so when I would go through a tough time with my health and I was regressing and everything, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I was weak, that I wasn't doing something right. So I felt like I had to be a certain way as a yoga teacher. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Like I can't, I didn't have the energy to hold up. I'm strong, I'm all together. No, sometimes I come apart. Sometimes I'm a complete mess. When you're sick and you're in pain and, feeling nauseous and all those things, it strips you down. And I realize now that I don't have to have it all together all the time. And I think sometimes showing that side of me makes other people realize that they can be vulnerable too, and that they don't have to be strong all the time. So to me, when I see somebody else that, is doing something that's making a difference in the world and they show that they don't have it all together, then I feel okay.
Right.
It's like comparing my insides to their outsides. Right.
Yes.
So I think we do that a lot in the world, is we're like, oh, that person is doing this, that, and the other out in the world. And I'm sitting here feeling like, vulnerable or whatever. So we need to be a little bit, I feel that it's beneficial to be more transparent. And it's not about comparing. It's not about seeing what anybody else is doing. I'm just trying to follow my heart and share what's important to me. And that's about making a difference for other people. And that helps me. I mean, it's kind of
I was
fun.
just going to say that is, Susan actually just posted that, vulnerability is a gift we give to ourselves, right? Because when we open up and we are our true selves saying, I'm falling apart. This is, I'm not in a good place, or I'm just having a rough day. It brings other people to say, they want to support you, but they also feel like they're not alone, right? Because they have days like that. We're human, and it's not always going to be what social media portrays, right? Is all is good and everyone, you see these videos or these people out posting photos and stuff that looks perfect, but it's not the true reality of life, right? There is ebbs and flows, and we're going through different challenges, right? So it's nice to know that when you can meet somebody and just be your real true self. If it's a great day, it's a great day. But if it isn't, to be able to be safe in that space to say, I'm having a rough day, and it's okay, right? It's okay. And I think that's where you and I really connected, is because we really want to not make it out to be this perfect space that we're in and we're creating and we're doing all these different things, which we love, but doesn't mean everything behind the scenes is always perfect, right? There are challenges. So I love the authenticity, the message that gives. Just even, it's almost like giving permission to yourself and others, right? That you can be yourself.
And it frees up so much energy when you do that.
Yeah.
I love how you said that. It just gives everybody permission.
Yes.
Be themselves.
And like you said, like sometimes as a yoga teacher, like if you're there and you're trying to be something that you're not feeling that day, it drains you. It takes away all of you, right? Instead of you releasing the stress, you're actually adding more to it, because now you're pretending to do something or be something that you're not in that moment, right? And I think that's for all of us in whatever jobs or whatever things we're doing around us, if we're always in that acting mode, it's draining the energy right out of us. So if we feel like I don't have the energy, or I feel really like I can't do any more than this, sometimes you have to do an introspection of what it is that you're really doing and what's draining the energy, right? So I love that we can do that kind of introspection with our lives when we know that, there's a spirit guiding us. There's something within us that is guiding us, if we can just take a moment to listen. And hence yoga, the breath work, and how all of that ties in is beautiful. So I know we're almost coming to the end here, but is there any parting messages for somebody that may be going through something? Would you give them like a tip that you would say to them today if they're going through something that they really need help with?
Well, I think one of the hardest things is reaching out. I think of it as reaching in. If you can't reach in, reach out. Or, both of those things have really helped me to be able to stop, sit, be still. When I'm feeling a lot of overwhelm, the last thing I want to do is be still, but to lean into it. Like, I want to run away from my emotions when they're icky. That's the last thing I want to do, is feel and experiencing them. But I do find that leaning into that, probably the last year or two, I've been leaning into self-compassion. So treating myself like I would like I would treat my best friend, like somebody that I loved and adored and cherished. That's how I need to treat myself, because I can be really hard on myself. So leaning into that, giving myself time in that space, to lean into that self-compassion, and just allowing the emotions, because usually emotions come up, they flow. If we allow them, they flow through us, and then we move through it. Where the resistance comes is that we stuff it down. We don't want to feel it. We get ourselves busy, all that. So that would probably be my suggestion of something that's really helped me, and I'm still learning, is to lean into it, feel the feelings in the moment, and just knowing that it's going to pass. When we feel it, we can move through it. And reach out, just reaching out to other people, somebody that you trust, or somebody that feels safe, and just to be able to share, like you said, that I'm having a bit of a bad day, and it'd be nice to just have a friend to go for a walk with, or have a chat with. So
yeah, that's the thing, right? Sometimes we get afraid of reaching out, or sometimes we just want to go into a little corner and suffer by ourselves. But like you said, I love it where you said reach in or reach out, right? Something can give you that connection that makes you feel like, for one, you're not alone. And two, just talking to somebody can relieve some of that stress, that you can get it out of your system per se, right? To just be able to release that. So I just love that, the reach in, reach out. I hope that for those that are watching, I hope this has really given you something to think about. And if you want to reach out to Kelly, please do so. I'll post her email again on here, so you can reach her directly if you just want to private message her, or you can reach her on Facebook. If you want to message her on Facebook, she will be happy to obviously have a chat with you as well, and maybe find out about the sister circles and the different retreats that you're doing. Even if they're virtual, they may be some resource for people out there that may be looking for this exact thing. And as we end this conversation, I just first of all want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time and sharing your story, the vulnerability that really it takes to come out and share what you've been through and how it all kind of transpired. So I want to thank you for that. And also just for who you are. You're just this beam of light. And I love what you stand for.
Thank you so much. This has really been an honor. And yeah, I can't even tell you, to be able to come and share with somebody that is so open, and so you have such a beautiful spirit. I didn't feel uncomfortable like I normally would. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. So that is Kelly DeBlois. I hope I'm saying that again correctly, but please reach out. This is where we come together. We all are going through different things. There are challenges, not just COVID, but life. So if you need to talk to somebody, if you want to connect on a different level in terms of maybe you've been thinking about yoga. Maybe you're thinking about, well, how do I don't even know the first thing about yoga. Talk to someone who's gone through this journey, and maybe Kelly is the person that can maybe shed some light for you. So with that, I just want to wish you a wonderful, happy, peaceful, prosperous Monday as you begin this week of work and play. Just remember, the one message that I always have for you when I end is, be kind to yourself and to others. Until tomorrow, I wish you a wonderful day.